Hi, welcome back to this is episode 4, if I'm not mistaken, yes. So I'm super happy to be here today. I've been looking forward to this episode all weekend. We just had our long Easter weekend. Happy Easter to those that celebrate. And I'm glad that all of you were able to have some very needed off time, whether it be Friday or Monday. Usually, most of the kids had Friday and Monday off. So I hope that you enjoyed family time or time for yourself to replenish and rejuvenate. We went to the Rockies here in Canmore, Alberta. It was absolutely gorgeous. So I'm here today because we are going to be looking at what is a tarot deck like, right? What does it look like? What is it? What comprises of it? What I know that. Let me start off with most people have heard the words major arcana and minor arcana. So that doesn't mean anything to most people, but so there is the major arcana and minor arcana. Now, what is the major arcana? Let's start with that. There is 22 cards in the major arcana, and it's kind of like a journey, and there's two different kinds of journeys in the tarot deck, which is really interesting. But this one's a bit more of a beginning of life and end of life journey through the major arcana. Now, I'm not going to go into depth today. I will go in depth. I believe it's Friday that I'm going to dive into the major arcana a little bit more in depth with you guys. But I wanted to just point that out that the major arcana is um, I guess once again, I'm going to use the example of the newspaper. So you have the minor arcana that's more like fine print, and you have the major arcana that's more like the headlines of the tarot deck. Okay. So we have also the minor arcana. As you guys can see, I've got a few decks in front of me, so we will get into it in a moment. But I want to finish explaining. So we have the minor arcana as well. Minor arcana is comprised of 4 different suits. We have the cups, the wands, the pentacles, and the swords. The cups represent water, wands represent fire, pentacles is earth, and swords is air. And so I won't get more into detail. Once again, I will do that on Wednesday. We'll be diving a little deeper into the minor arcana on my Wednesday live. So there you go. That's approximately a very general look into what a tarot deck is, just by explaining it. So there are different types of tarot decks. There are many different people that have put out and continue to create tarot decks. Some of them are meant to be to help us dive into our more vulnerable, fearful sides of us. Some of them are meant for feminine energies. Some of them are meant for getting to the heart of things and whatnot. I did explain this in one of my lives last week. But how about we go and look at a few cards from these decks just to give you an idea. So I have my Urban Tarot deck here. Okay. I really love this deck because it either really goes into the light or really goes into our vulnerable, fearful side. And when it goes into the vulnerable, fearful, it really goes into it intensely. So I have a few cards here that I've put aside to give you an idea. So let's say minor arcana, cups, right? I said cups is water. So it's perfectly represented here. We have the cup, if you see here, the fountain in back with the angel, and 1 is usually the beginning of something, right? When we start with number 1. So this is one of the beautiful, beautiful cards of the Urban Tarot deck. I love this deck so much. I recommend it to anyone. And then we have something in the Major Arcana. I love this one. Wait a minute. Yes. So this one's happiness. Now, each deck will sometimes use different words to represent. So it won't necessarily be the traditional names of, let's say, all the 22 major arcana cards. And so this one, oh no, this is a cups card. This is the 9 of cups. So this one is happiness. This one is one of the most evocative cards of the Cups deck. Cups suit. I love this one. You see how there's family here. There's a barbecue going on here. The cups, all those 9 cups here. And there's a sunset. It's very beautiful, very usually connects with, fond memories and whatnot. So, yeah, so I love this card so very much. And then we have another card that's the High Priestess. Now, this is the one that's the Major Arcana. The High Priestess is the second card of the Major Arcana, and I absolutely love the High Priestess. So if you see, there's a woman in her tub, relaxing, just kind of off in her mind, not really focused on anything, just kind of allowing herself to disconnect and taking care of herself and being fully in her feminine in this moment with what seems to be a little something in the water to take care of her skin. And so it's a really beautiful, if you see the name High Priestess at the bottom here, it's a really beautiful card. So I don't want to dwell too long. I just absolutely love this deck. So I'm obviously tempted to go into more. So that's my either very fearful, vulnerable, or very much in our light. So I have another deck that I really love, and this was my very first love. This was my very first tarot deck, the Light Seer Tarot deck. I have loved this deck for a very long time, for many, many years, and I've just, sorry about the ringer. So I want to show you a few of the cards that I've prepared for you here. Okay, so some of them are really evocative, and I connected with this deck, and I still I have yet to connect with the tarot deck as powerfully as I've connected with this one. So one of my favorite cards, I think I have mostly, I have a Pentacles card, mostly Major Arcana here. But one of my favorite cards is the Star. And if you see here, she is sitting there wistfully looking up. No worries, very open, very receiving, very allowing. It's really beautiful. And so this is one of my favorite cards of this deck. There's a lot of potential and promise and reaching for our, what we believe to be what we want. Yes, reaching for our dreams and reaching for our goals. And we have to do that, right? So this is this juicy one. Now, I wanted to show you something that was a little bit less beautiful and positive because tarot is not about being, positive and seeing the best outlook. It's about getting to the heart of what we need our answers for, what clarity we need. So the card that I pulled out as well is the Devil. Now, this one speaks of temptation, speaks of, our more vulnerable, fearful side. Okay. I'll let you kind of receive from all of that. And so, yeah, this is the number 15 of the Major Arcana cards. I wanted to also show you a Pentacle card, which is, remember, Pentacles is Earth. And this is the Queen of Pentacles, my very, very favorite card of the whole deck. So if you see here, there's a lot of spiritual, a lot of feminine, beautiful power in a healthy way, very embodied. So this is she's out in nature, she's in her element, she's at peace, there's no struggle, she allows in a very powerful way. So I really, really love this card. This is, once again, Pentacles, which represents Earth. So I'm going to move on because this is going to end up being a long video. I'm already at 10 minutes and I really want to keep my videos not too long. So I'm going to jump to the part of, I also use Oracle cards. Now, Oracle cards, I didn't really think at first I was going to dive into it, but I am, because I truly use Oracle almost as much as I use Tarot. And once again, just as a reminder, I did mention my Oracle cards in one of my last week's videos. The Oracle cards are very, so let me use the newspaper example. So where Tarot will be the fine print, Oracle will be more the headlines of the newspaper. And so it's just basically a different angle coming and adding to some of the really beautiful aspects of the that you can come and add to the reading, coming and completing a tarot card. So usually what I do is I have my tarot card, and for every tarot card, I pull an oracle card. So I'm going to show you my very, very, very first oracle deck, which is the Sacred Destiny Oracle deck. Any of you that are interested, I don't have the box here, funny enough, just look up Sacred Destiny Oracle and you will find it. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful oracle deck. So I'm going to pull out a few. Oh yes, so one of the really beautiful cards, it's very powerful, is openness. Now, as you see, compared to the tarot cards that I've shown you before, openness is a lot more general. It's a little bit different of an approach, and it encourages openness in us and in our lives. So this one is really beautiful. You can see constellations, the full moon, which usually means it's a coming into a full circle moment, harvest, fullness, bounty, and all that kind of beautiful thing. And so we also have one of my other favorite cards, which is patience. Patience is one of those cards that is usually a struggle for all of us at some point, at least. And so I love this card, how it represents, it encourages patience and encourages usually patience in our lives first. So that's from that deck. I won't get too deep into it. And then one more deck that is absolutely gorgeous and that usually helps me connect with it, our ancestors and connect with our guides and our people from the spirit world. And it's called the Ancestor Spirit Oracle cards. So if you'd like to see the box very quickly, Ancestor Spirit Oracle cards by Jade Sky, if you see down there. Okay, really beautiful deck. And let me give you an idea. Okay, let's start with this one. This one is Interact and Relate, Community, Family, Traditions. So this one is really beautiful, very powerful, very family, but also just friendship and connection, human connection. So I love this card very much. Once again, oracle cards, and so let me just mention about oracle cards before I forget. Oracle cards, each deck has its own aspect of our life that it kind of dives into and gives us more clarity into. So this one is a little bit more, ancestor, our lineage and who we are, and gets into a little bit more personal in our own families and our own lives. Whereas the Sacred Destiny is a little bit more of our journey and whatnot. So yeah, it's really awesome. Here's another one. This one's Psychic, Strength, Shield, Talisman, Gold Light, so meaning warm light. So this one, once again, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's many different cultures represented in this deck. I absolutely love that. It touches many places from around the world, and it was one of the reasons why I was so attracted to this deck. And so the last card, and I will be finishing my live with this, the Spirit Guides, Insight, Guidance, and Purpose. And this is a very First Nations oriented card. You have that beautiful white-headed eagle, and you have the chieftain with his headpiece. Beautiful, beautiful. Once again, very, as I said, spirit guides. So really, truly how we connect with everyone. So that's about it. If you ever have any questions, that's my live for today. It was longer than expected, but I think that it was worth it. I hope you enjoyed my decks. If ever you have any questions, just let me know. It would be a pleasure. Take care, guys. Thanks for being with me today.